Trump says him and JD Vance are not weird. Great stuff. Let's take a look.
And neither is JD Vance after Kamala Harris and other Democratic leaders trotted out weird to describe the GOP duo.
Nobody's ever called me weird. I'm a lot of things, but weird I'm not. And I'm up front. And he's not either, I will tell you. JD is not at all. They are. It's all a soundbite. And the press picks it up. You notice the evening news, every one of them talk. You know, they introduce the word weird, and all of a sudden they're talking about weird. No, we're not weird people. We're actually just the opposite.
Okay, our panel is back to talk more about this. Let's talk about weird. I want to play a clip. This all started, Tim Walz, who is potentially a VP pick for Kamala Harris, just said it very...
Bro, this all started with a young gunner who used to be young but is now old, who has been riding this fucking wave and this momentum that Republicans are weirdos for the past fucking 6 years, baby. From the first day that I got on this fucking platform, I have been a major advocate to show everybody how fucking weird the Republicans are. I have a very popular segment called Hogwatch, okay? That's the entire point. We've been saying Republicans are fucking weirdos. We've been saying that. Just saying, but I'm glad that Waltz is, pushed to the forefront.
Plainly, but a lot of Democrats have picked up on weird. So let's listen to them.
These guys are just weird. That's where they are.
It's the weirdest thing. He'll go and like literally hug an American flag. Now, I love the flag, but I mean, it's like weird what he does.
I mean, on the other side, they're just weird. I mean, they really are.
Kamala Harris has used it as well. Sarah, this seems to be sinking. It's rare you see messaging like that just take off, and they've all adapted to it or adopted it pretty quickly. How is it landing with voters and kind of, it is very plain spoken, but do voters kind of get that?
Totally. And here's the thing. For a long time, I would say the way that people talked about Donald Trump, because he is a very dangerous person, they talk, dictator, strongman, authoritarian, and that stuff. Voters oftentimes will say, like, what do you think about Trump being an authoritarian? And people will be like, what? What are you talking about?
What is that? Yeah.
Whereas weird, people are like, I know what weird is. And JD Vance has really helped to define the weirdness, right? The cat lady stuff, the fact that he has done a full personality transplant. So it's funny, they're trying to brand Kamala Harris as a chameleon. But everybody, when I talk to swing voters and focus groups, I haven't seen as negative a reaction to a candidate as I have seen from swing voters to JD Vance since Mike Pence was in the...
The reason why the weird shit is good is, one, because they are weird, but also because it doesn't give them power. It actually humiliates them in a way that voters, in a way that will drive a rift between the normal suburbanite Republican Party voters, okay, the normal rural Republican Party voters versus the weirdo MAGA cultists. Not to say that, like, all of those guys don't like Donald Trump. Of course they do. But when you say, like, oh, Donald Trump is an authoritarian, those guys look at that and think, yeah, they're just saying that because Donald Trump is a strong-willed, charismatic leader that wants to do my bidding. It's just like they call me racist, right? If you call them deplorable, if you call them fucking racist, like, these are terms that Republicans, moderate voters in general, will not respond negatively to at all. As a matter of fact, they will negatively polarize against the person saying that. But when you say fucking weird, and it's especially on like a issue that they're hyper focusing on in a very sweaty way, like how they just keep talking about, like, if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're a woman. That's a weird fucking thing to say. All of these, like, groibers on Twitter, like, separating the party, which is communicating like they're groipers on Twitter, from the average fucking Republican supporter that doesn't like that kind of stuff and thinks that's gross is a good way to deal with this. It also, I think, neutralizes. You can't just, when you say they're like far-right authoritarians or they're violent or whatever the fuck, a lot of Republicans will think, oh, this is just hysteria from the Democratic Party. But when you say someone is weird, when you say like the Republicans are weird, they kind of get it. Like people understand it because they've heard the weird shit that they're saying.
Primary to Trump voters. These swing voters do not like him, and they do think he's weird. They think he's inauthentic. They think he's a phony. And so it's like if the weird shoe fits, like that's what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Mo, what do you say to all of this?
No, I think that's right. And, you know, you're so right. Like when you listen to words that are often used in politics, right? Authoritarian, dictator, dangerous, extreme. Mm-hmm. Like everyone has been using the word extreme for so long on both sides of the aisle that the word has kind of lost its meaning to a lot of voters. But weird, that's something that people just get, and I think it does reflect their feelings. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's been a weird cycle.
Yes,
it's been a weird campaign, and it's been a really bad and weird week for the Trump campaign. And you know, even that response, I think a lot of people
standing
are
up for the cause.
really?
Bro,
You're not weird, you're weird.
Like that's weird for an adult to say, right? Like
Every time I see Trump supporters, like, I don't know if they're specifically picking these people, but like, I just want to say, are you all right? Like, what's wrong with you? There's just something off about every single one of them. You know what I mean? It's like never like a normal person. It's always like some fucking weirdo, right? To be honest, like the most hilarious part about the Boo Boo Bennett videos, the reason why I love watching her videos is that there was a point in time in like the 2016 era, and even before that, like in the post-Gamergate world, where these alt-right, anti-SJW centrist YouTubers would go around and like find some of the worst, like most hysterical looking lefties, right? Like they would purposefully try to, you know, paint a picture of the left by looking at these like hyper specific instances, like people being fucking hysterical or whatever, to make the left look like this cartoonish depiction. And Boo Boo Bennett basically does it for the right. So it's like a gift. You know what I mean? Like she's not even doing it on purpose. She's not trying to make the Republicans look bad. She still ends up like pointing a camera to like random Trump supporters at the rally, and they all look fucking strange. Like there's something off.
They need to call, what was it General Flynn said? Martial law and revote.
General Flynn, dude. Oh my God, these people are fucking straight QAnon.
Do you have a quick message for President Trump? Keep fighting.
Bro, they don't pay me the big bucks for no reason. This is why they pay me the big bucks, baby. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You can't consistently portray yourself as the fucking weirdo party and not expect any sort of repercussions for it. I think why weird works is that it removes the power from the Republicans and make them the target of judgment. Yeah, deplorable and bully fits into the self-image of Republicans as tough, powerful person in control. Weird makes you think of an incel shooter, which hits because it's true. Yup. It's exactly what I've been saying. They're sweaty. They're weird. They're gross. They're hysterical. They're panting. They have assumed the role. They have assumed the role that like right-wingers tried to, leftists tried to, or liberals tried to portray them as. And that's why they keep fucking doubling down.
a toddler, sure, a kid, maybe. But so I just think it's one of those things that's going to stick a little.
Yeah, it seems to have caught on. And Molly, we're getting these fundraising numbers. Trump raising $139 million in July. The Harris team raising $310 million in July. And it's worth noting, of course, she entered late in the month once Biden stepped aside. These numbers really indicate that enthusiasm that we were talking about on the Harris side. I mean, this was Trump obviously real gains in fundraising. They were really lagging before, and they have caught up in a lot of ways. But this is a huge haul for the Harris campaign.
Yeah, well, and it should be said that the campaign's cash on hand is much closer to parity because the Trump campaign hasn't spent as much so far. But look, as you say, there is a lot of momentum behind the Democratic ticket now that was not there before. And I want to say I'm a proud weird American. I'm not here to stigmatize weird people. It's okay not to conform with the dominant culture. But I think it's part of the same thing where you have the Democrats suddenly seeming to be in the driver's seat, being able to say, you know, we're where the regular people are. We're where people who just want to live their lives are able to feel at home. And that's what this weird attack is. I mean, every campaign is trying to find new ways always to say, my opponent isn't like you, right? My opponent is different. My opponent is not someone who you relate to. And so this is another way of saying that. But what Democrats really like about this that I've spoken to is also that it has a dismissiveness to it.
Senator JD Vance of Ohio, during a podcast that was released on Friday, shared an anecdote about the moment former President Donald Trump called to ask him to be his running mate. His 7-year-old son, Vance recalled, wanted to discuss Pokemon. So he's trying to talk to me about Pikachu, and I'm on the phone with Donald Trump, and I'm like, son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachu, he said, referring to the Pokemon mascot. This is the most important phone call of my life. Just let me make this phone call.
So I call Trump, and I'm like, hey, sir, what's going on? He's like, JD, you missed a very important phone call, and now I'm going to have to pick somebody else. And I like tense up and almost have a heart attack. And the crazy thing about it is my son, who's 7, is in the hotel room with me. And he's really into Pokemon cards right now. He's going through a Pokemon phase. Are you guys into Pokemon?
I was back in the day.
Okay,
yeah, that's a big phase right now, I think, in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really into it. So he's trying to talk to me about Pikachu. And I'm on the phone with Donald Trump. And I'm like, son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachu. This is the most important phone call of my life. Please just let me take this phone call.
Dude, what? That's such a weird fucking way to... Yo, why are you voluntarily responding? Why are you voluntarily revealing to the whole ass world with your goddamn chest that you're like a piece of shit dad? What is happening?